guys, welcome back to Spirits and Souls, here in my sacred little space where I teach you how to be spiritual, what spirituality is, and how to become the person that you desire to become. Now, I am your spiritual and metaphysical teacher, Queen Mother. That's me. And I want to share with you a quick story time and also answer your questions on should you see a psychic. Now, and the tips and things that you should look out for when you go to a psychic. Now, in this video, I wanted to share with you my experiences with seeing a psychic, being an empath and a tarot reader and a healer. When I was in my Christian faith, following my Christianity growing up, I once asked my pastor what was the difference between a psychic and a pastor or prophetic visionary, or whatever they call themselves, telling you your future. Why was it so evil or wrong, such a sin, to see a psychic? Now, this pastor answered me by saying because they took money and they would lead you to evil, and that their visions and stuff wasn't always accurate. And that's when for me, it clicked that I didn't no longer need to follow Christianity, because if I'm a person who can read tarot, and I'm a person who has visions, and I'm like, what makes me so different if I was to ask someone to pay me for what I do? As a pastor, believe it or not, you get paid for what you do, if you like to say so or not, but you know, you do. So that's that. Okay, so I started my psychic journey when I had my first daughter, and I always would get like tarot cards and things like that, and I was always like trying to decipher them, because growing up I wasn't allowed to have access to these things, and the little things that I did find that I could get access to, I would try to hide it. But I always would know that I always had this desire to go see a psychic. Like, I wanted someone to tell my future and tell me whatever. So I went to one psychic lady when I was in school, and understanding now how that works and what to do. I want to help you get the best results that you can from your psychic readers. Now, starting off, I was very scary feeling. I took my infant baby, who was about a couple of months. I was having problems with her dad, and I took her with me, and I was confused. I didn't know what to do with my life, and I went to the psychic. And I remember leaving I remember two things. My daughter would not stop crying when we walked through the doors, and two, and this was my child that barely cried, so she would not stop crying. The second thing was I didn't really understand what she was saying to me. So it kind of started this bowl of, okay, I need to go to someone else. But I started noticing some trends with going to psychics. And I'm going to cover those later in the video, so make sure you stay tuned for the later part, okay? But learning that when you go to a psychic and you get tarot readings and you get psychic readings, or you talk to mediums, well, let's only stick to the psychic part. The psychic is using their sixth sense. So a lot of them are clairaudient, I want to jack this up, clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsteen. So they use their different senses. Some people can hear, some people can smell, they can see, they can get visions, they can read divinations, forms of divinations, and they can kind of understand the messages and the characteristics and the patterns that are happening to answer your questions. When you go to see a psychic, what they're reading for you usually was always going to be within like a 3 to 6 months time frame, or up to a year. And especially if they're using tarot, they'll try to tell you, and it's always based on where you are right now. So whatever they tell you can always change, because you have free will, you have free choice. You decide you can from that reading, it's kind of like going to the doctor and the doctor telling you, listen, I believe that the way you're eating right now is unhealthy, and in about 10 years you're going to possibly die. From that visit, you can change to eat healthy, or you can stay the same. And it's the same when you go to a psychic. The psychic is going to tell you right now they think is going to happen within this time frame, and you can decide to change, or you can stay the same, and the results will come based on either of the paths that you have. So when you go to psychics, I don't necessarily think it's good for long-term reading. So if you're trying to figure out what am I going to do 10 years from now, it's really hard for a real psychic to tell you what you're going to do for 10 years from now, because it can change. The psychic can very much well reveal to you that you're going to be a multi-millionaire entrepreneur with like a mansion and kids on Oprah level or something, and you can go from that visit and be afraid of wealth and decide, I'm not going to pursue my career, I'm not going to do this, and therefore you just forfeited that future. So we look at it as multiple dimensions and multiple possibilities based on where you are now, and we try to lead you that way. Now, when I get psychic readings, I do get psychic readings from before. Now I'm getting to the point I don't do it anymore, and I'll tell you why. Just hang on tight. When I would get psychic readings, I would only pick people that I knew were clairvoyant, clairaudience, oh my god, I'm gonna mess up all these clairs, but I knew people who were not using tarot, or sometimes I would do tarot, but I had to find someone I knew authentically could tell me what I wanted at the time. This is before I started reading myself. Someone who had the psychic knowing that they were not using tools, they were actually tapping into their senses and talking to their gods. So whenever I would look for a psychic reading, I would look for who is clairvoyant, who is clairaudience, what are their experience doing. If you see someone that's like an empathic reader like myself, I'm going to pick up and read off of your energy, what I'm feeling. I'm making answers from my spirit guides and guidance from my ancestors and spirit guides while I'm working with you. But I can't necessarily tell you you're going to have a baby on December 3rd in 9 months or 3 months. I can't personally tell you unless it comes to me that way, or I get a vision that that's what I'm going to see. I can read it through divination, but I can't necessarily say just offhand, oh yeah, I know what's going to happen to you. Unless, now I've had times where that has happened, but 9 times out of 10, being an empathic reader, I'm picking up off your feelings and energies and everything else, and I'm coming to conclusions of what it is that you need and try to help you figure out where you need to go. Now, back to the story. So psychics, I will look for very particular readers. Now, when you're going to psychic readers, a lot of times, even with myself, you can pay $20 to $30, $60 at most, $100 for however much their services are. That's it. They still have to have like a side hustle, right? So a lot of times they try to upsell you on their products, such as their candles or services, or doing cleansings and different things like that. Those people are not just psychics, those people are psychics and healers. And some people can be scamish, some people are not. Just like if you go to a doctor's office, I will always look into it as like a consultation. Before you invest thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars in getting cleanses and all of these things, take some time and meditate. Take some time and think about what they told you, because I've watched readers. This is why I stopped. I would go to readers and they would flip my cards over, and before they were even done, I could see already in the cards, because I was a reader as it is, I could read my deck. The problem was I didn't have enough confidence and faith within myself to read for myself. So I would get muddled and confused. So I would go to someone else and say, hey, can you help me figure this problem out? I can't figure it out. Just as I work in IT, and I may go to like my coworker and say, I can't figure this out. I know what I'm doing, I understand what I'm doing, but I can't figure it out myself. And that's what I would essentially go and do. But I would read it, and then I would see this card, and it would get to the very end, and I'm like, okay, this is good, a good solution or whatever. And then this person is trying to tell me that I have like this curse on me, or this negative energy, and it needs to be removed and all of this stuff. And I used to say, okay, well, if everybody is saying this to me in the same city and in the same town, and they telling everybody this stuff, trying to sell these products, then a 9 times out of 10 it was a scam. So I would never jump right away into like giving them my money, Savannah, and I just would take what they said and kind of leave it at that. Now, when you go to psychics, just remember to pay attention. If they're going to upsell you on anything, just ask, could you come back at a later time, and what their prices are. If you choose to go that way with them, just kind of ask these questions instead of just jumping in right away, because a lot of times there are people out there, unfortunately, who are going to take advantage of you, and they're going to use this fear of you're not wanting to lose your husband, you're not wanting to lose your job, you're not wanting to do these fearful things to try to drive you to pay more money. And I just feel like I have to honestly tell you this, because I wouldn't want anyone to be taken advantage of. Before you book a reading, ask the reader, what's their experiences, what are their gifts, how are they interpreting. If they don't have like a website or anything down, ask them, how are they getting their messages, how are they able to see. Ask a common thing that most people like to do in readings is not talk. They feel like, oh, I don't want to talk, I don't want to say anything. If my friend watches this, she's gonna probably kill me for saying this, but I had a friend who went to a reader and she just felt like he was reading her mind, because she would think like he was a scam, like he was lying, he was a fake, you know, whatever, and he would just start saying stuff and he would be like, yeah, you don't believe me. So she really was like thinking the guy could read her mind, and so she was afraid to think and answer, because she thought like he was going to read her mind and answer. So it was funny what she told me. But you know, if you're one of those people, you can think, just try not to give too much information. A true reader does not have to ask you questions. I often tell my clients when I am reading for them, don't tell me anything, don't ask me anything. At the end of it, let me read for you first. If I need clarity or understanding, I'm going to ask you a question. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a yes or no. You don't have to give me details. At the end of the reading, I usually ask, did this resonate with you? Was this true? Did it hit home? Is it something that I need to know? 9 times out of 10, they'll say yes, this resonated with me a lot. It was what I was thinking. If they tell me, I was thinking about my boyfriend cheating on me, whatever, and if that came up in the reading, I'll say, okay, so you specifically are telling me about a guy cheating on you. Let me go ahead and pull some cards for that to clarify, and I will clarify that feeling or that concern that that person is saying. And if the cards read that way as well, or if I get a message from it, then I'm going to deliver that message. But I don't like to get my clients to talk. As a reader, I go to my readings, I don't talk. I don't give information, I don't give names, I don't give dates. Initially, you'll get my name and my birthday, that's it, because some people feel like they need that information to read. I don't know why, because I don't really need that information either. But you know, for different people, they have different ways of tapping into their gifts and their ability. That's that. Sometimes it is for personal records, but you don't have to say anything. If you feel uncomfortable or you don't want to ask, or you feel like that the person is telling you too much information that's way off, then you can say, stop, please, this is not resonating with me. This is not, we can say, this is not what you're talking about. I don't understand what you're asking for. This isn't related to me. If you feel like they're just saying all kind of stuff like, oh my god, you're gonna be divorced and you know you're not married, like, you kind of have to use some discernment and common sense, which is why I'm going to encourage you, whenever you go for readings, that you yourself, you pray and you channel and you ask your spirit guides, your ancestors and your angels to protect you going into a psychic reading, as well as you ask them to please reveal what you need to know. Because sometimes there can be a blockage within yourself and you're not allowing your guides to talk with you regarding whatever messages they need to give you. So therefore, you can go to someone else to kind of help you unlock that door to tell you what it is that you need to do. But don't talk. Don't give away too much information. If you find you are having to give too much information and you say, yeah, I got a job and oh, I lost my job, and they're like, yes, you're gonna get this, you're gonna get this, you're gonna get this, then you know 9 times out of 10 they're feeding off of whatever you're saying, and they're not truly tapped in to you, or they're not truly a psychic. Now, there are mismatches. just like you can go to school and your one teacher, you can learn perfectly well from that teacher's teaching style, and then you can go to a different teacher and you don't understand a word or how this person is teaching. Psychics are very much the same as well. You may have one psychic that you may resonate completely with. They can literally speak the words that you are thinking out of your mouth. Hence, like my friend who thought this guy was reading her mind, he was just very in sync with her. They had a connection, a psychic connection, and he was able to connect with her. There are some people that you're going to be mismatched, and you can just say honestly, like, yeah, I'm not connecting with you, or I don't feel like your vibes are good, or I don't feel comfortable, or whatever, and you can stop the reading wherever you are. Now, just remember to be mindful. Don't be fearful of anything. Relax. It's just like talking to a friend, or going to a counselor or anything. What I would like for you to do is comment down below if you've ever had a psychic reading and how you've had your psychic reading, because I would love to hear your experience with whatever psychics you've met. When you're getting psychic readings, you can go in person to a location. You can have a psychic reading over the phone. You can have a psychic reading over the Skype. You can do a psychic reading in an email. You can do a psychic reading face to face, or YouTube. I love YouTube pick a card readings. I want to comment down below some of my favorite psychic tarot card readings down below, but I love them. It's never about having to physically be there to feel like it's going to be authentic. A lot of my authentic readings I've had have been over the phone. I usually pray and ground myself before I go in, and the reader, if they're worth their salt, they're going to cleanse and pray and ground themselves, and we're going to connect on that level, and my guys are going to come in through those people. You have to, like I said, if it doesn't feel right, you can always, if you're doing like a phone reading or anything like that, like with companies, you can always ask, like, what is your policy if I don't feel like your reading is accurate. Don't try to scam the reader out of their money, because that takes a lot of work and energy to get prepared before a reading and to get prepared after a reading, and to tap into whatever you want. So be sure, you know, to ask, like, if I don't connect with you, can I stop you within 5 minutes and cancel my appointment or whatever. Sometimes going into psychic readings, this is why I don't like timed readings, because sometimes you need time to connect, and sometimes the reader needs time to connect and understand and get there. And a lot of times, if you're doing readings like through companies that are psychic companies, on, you know, those ones that's on TV and things like that, they want to charge you like an arm and a leg for 5 or 10 minutes, and you can't really read someone in 5 or 10 minutes. So I don't care for the phone readings that way. I've purchased them before in my younger days. I don't necessarily care for them. However, most definitely I will stop within 2 minutes if I don't feel like the person is accurate, if I don't feel like the person is whatever, because you're not going to like waste my money. But make sure to ask whatever questions you need to ask. Get all of them out in a timely manner. If you have someone that you know is like long-winded and taking their slow time, you know, just be sure to be affirmative and cut them off and like, hey, can you answer this question? Don't be rude, but, you know, just kind of like, okay, you know, I have like 10 minutes, I need to ask the important questions first that you really know, and then save like the fun stuff, like how many kids am I going to have, how am I going to do this, you know, whatever, in the end. My first psychic reading that I felt was accurate, I went down to a lady downtown in Savannah from where I am, and I went to her because I think I went to 2 other women who like told me I had this curse on me or whatever, and I was like, yeah. So I went to her and she said, what? She laughed. She said, did someone tell you you had a curse? I said, yeah. She said, you're perfectly fine, you don't have a curse. And I said, okay. I just wanted to make sure, because I don't necessarily think that them saying the exact same things was true, because I've never had anyone else tell me those things. I kind of felt like it was kind of fishy, like I said. But this psychic reader, the way she read me stood out the most to me, or the accuracy of how they're giving you. I want to tell you all together in the end, but I've been going to these places wasting my time because I already know the answers. I already be knowing the answers. I already be knowing what to do. I just don't want to do them, so I just want more confirmation. And I go to these places and I be like, I already freaking knew I needed to let this person go. You know, I already knew. So I went to her and she confirmed a lot of things, but my grandmother had recently deceased. My great grandmother, no, my step grandmother had deceased, and my grandmother came through in that reading, and I didn't know. So I was so ashamed to like tell my family, because they were so against that kind of stuff, that I kind of had to secretly like talk to my grandfather and like, hey, are y'all looking for something? You know, what was her favorite color? Because she was telling me all this stuff, and he was like, how do you know all this stuff? And I'm like, yeah, I just asked the question. And he was like, did you go to somebody? I'm like, yeah, you know, I kind of kept it down to myself, because my family is just such hard Christians and they're just very closed-minded to a lot of that stuff. So I just kind of like didn't want to like expose that part of me yet. But later to find out, my mom was like, you should have told us, because we were looking for paperwork, and if she was telling you where the paperwork was at, you could have helped us. But I was afraid at the time to really come forward. So that was one of my first psychic readings I've had women who tried to scam me. I most recently had confirmation from a reading I had a few years ago that I most definitely thought was a scam. But once I talked to my significant baby's father's sister, she confirmed that what I was told in the reading that I didn't think was necessarily real or relatable, or I didn't know how to ask about it because I didn't have enough information on it. She confirmed that it was true, and that she was given the same information, and she went and asked about it, and then it turned out that it was true. So sometimes you may not understand what the reader is telling you right then and there. Some things may click later on. Like, I had a reading one time, I asked how many children I was going to have, and a lady told me that I was going to, so many number of kids that I was going to have, but she was like, she see that I was going to get rid of one. And I was like, yeah, I'm not a person, I'm not against women who have their rights to abort their pregnancies, but I'm not that person I don't personally want to partake in that. But I was like, yeah, I would never do something like this. I don't know what she's talking about. And lo and behold, in the time frame in which she said, I did get pregnant, I didn't abort, but I ended up miscarrying. And I was like, oh my God. It wasn't until I had the miscarriage that it clicked that, oh my God, this is what that woman was talking about. So in your readings, it's not going to always make sense right then and there. Sometimes in your readings, like I said, you can go to a reading and the psychic can tell you something, and then you can change, and like the psychic can tell you you're going to get pregnant with twins in 2 years or tomorrow. You might be like, you know what, let me go get on birth control right now, and you stop it. You know, so you have the option, you have the free will, you have the ability to create your life, and you should create your life, and you should take whatever is given to you in psychic readings as a guide, as simply, like I said, going to the doctor and getting information and guidance on what you should do, and make your decisions based on what it is that you truly want and you feel is appropriate for you in that moment. Because sometimes you may be like, I want to have this relationship, but it may be time for you to leave, and you're holding yourself in it, stopping you from getting like the next perfect relationship that's supposed to be the one that you're looking for, you know. So you have to be mindful of not taking it as concrete, using it as a guide. So I wanted to tell you why I decided to stop going to psychic readings and stop doing pick a cards, and I'm in my spiritual journey, because I have embarked on becoming being a spiritual teacher, and being more of a card reader, and creating products and things like that in the spiritual world. And I'm taking on my spiritual journey to a higher level. At this moment, I have to learn to trust myself. I have to learn to listen to my guides. I have to learn that when I ask my ancestors and call for their protections, that that's what they're doing. I have to trust that what I'm hearing and what I'm feeling is accurate, and I have to start being able to decipher for myself. So when I have those feelings of like, oh, I want to have a reading, oh, I feel uncertain about whatever, I no longer I don't even go to my tarot cards anymore, because I used to like go and pull for myself. And then oftentimes, like I said, it's really hard to read for myself because the cards are telling me one thing, but I wanted to say something else because I know like I want something different. So that's the hard part for me. So I usually don't tend to read for myself because I'm fighting myself on what I need to know. Tarot card is saying you need to leave so and so, and I'm just like, I don't want to leave him yet. You know, my spirit guides are like, girl, you need to leave. And I'm just like, but I don't. I love him. I want to stay. You know, so certain stuff like that, I'm having to learn to trust. So I've had to pull back from going to psychics because as my gifts, as I began to trust myself and tap into my own gifts, and my gifts continue to unlock and reveal themselves to me, I don't want to go to someone else when I'm having to learn about myself, when I'm having to learn to trust my own voice. So I stopped going to psychics. There are still times that people that I'm like, I really want to do it, but I have to realize that I'm like the reasoning for going to a psychic. If I can't go to a psychic because I'm fearful of something changing, like I know this relationship is getting ready to end, so I want to go to the psychic. I know I'm getting ready to lose this job, or I feel like I'm unhappy in this environment and I want to change, so I want to go to the psychic to see if it's going to right. I'm having to learn to trust my power and my ability to create what I want. If I know that I want a loving, healthy, happy relationship, I'm not going to go to someone to confirm that I should stay in this relationship. I'm not going to go to someone to tell me that I should leave this relationship. I have to now create the relationship that I want. I have to call that in within my power. If I want to win $1 million, I'm not going to go to the psychic and be like, can you tell me if I want to get a windfall of money? No, I have to start trusting and recreating that positive in myself. I intend to have this amount of money. I need to create that wealth mindset within myself and walk as though I've already have it, believe that I already have it, say my prayers of thanksgiving, because that is what I'm creating. And I'm now trusting my power and not reaching out to a source or an entity outside of myself to tell me if I'm getting so and so. You know, just like I read this lady, I can't remember her name, she's a YouTuber, I think she does relationship stuff, but she sent out an email when she had her daughter, and in her email she talks about why she didn't know the gender, because she was like, she wanted to have a daughter and she had to believe in herself and her ability to create and know that she was having what she wanted. So she didn't find out the gender. She knew, like, okay, this is what I want, this is what I'm having, and this is what I want to get. Why am I going to go check the gender? Why am I going to do anything else? She prepared as if she already had it. So I look at going to psychics and things like that, most times we go out of fear. We go out of fear of the unknown, fear of having to change, fear of what's going to happen. We're fearful, so we go to these people, and I'm going to say, because I mean, I go to and I read too, so we go to these things outside of us instead of trusting and believing in our own power and our own ability to create, to co-create with the universe, to co-create with ourselves, that we can have what we want, to believe in ourselves, that we can have it. I believe in it, so I'm not going to go to someone else that's going to tell me how to get it, or when I'm going to get it, or where I'm going to get it. No, I'm going to get up every single day and trust that the path that I'm on, what I need to know, it will come to me in the time that it needs to come to me. Life is full of surprises, and I feel like going to a psychic can kind of ruin it. Now, when you are getting guidance, I don't know when I will go back to reading for myself again, but I think right now I'm really having to go back through. I've even had to go through a lesson lately where I'm having to learn to trust my intuition. I'm having to learn to listen to my ancestors, to listen to my guides. I'm being forced to do this. I wanted to do a psychic reading the other day, and my spirit guide laughed, and it is funny because she laughs and she says, why? You already know what you want her to say. Like, if you know what you want her to say, why are you going to waste your money? My spirit guide was like, I can tell you this, and you know, everything's going to work out fine. You don't need to go waste your money. Now, what I would suggest that you do is, if you are looking to get in contact with someone that has deceased, so you'll go see a medium or a psychic medium, then you can do that as well, because sometimes we don't always have the ability to connect in contact with our deceased and loved ones. So I would say go to a medium. I wanted to go to a medium, and a psychic medium that I have grown to admire. She's done a few readings for me, and I kind of said I wanted to go back, but right now, like I said, where I am, this is why my spirit laughed at me, because I want to tell you guys this. My spirit, I got laughed at, and I had to laugh at myself afterwards, because I was like, oh, I want to go to her and I want to get a reading, and I also want to go her to see if she can tell me like about what I'm doing now, and if she can tell me about my deceased ones. Now, I'm a human, I'm learning, and I'm trying to figure this all out. So, and I'm teaching you guys along the way. The night before I prayed with my ancestors. I talked to my ancestors. Right? I really did this. But I had the most breathtaking experience that I have never felt. And I saw the faces of everyone. I felt their presence. I was speaking to them. They were speaking to me. I literally wrote down everything they said to me. And here I am, ready to go throw $100 at someone to tell me about my deceased loved ones. And that's what was so funny, because I'm like, okay, Queen Mother, you just did this very same thing that you're going to want to go and pay someone to tell you. Why? And when my spirit guide laughed at me and said that, I don't want to be like laughed at me like ha 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 ha, like, you know, your spirit guides are never going to be negative to you, but it was like, girl, like, what are you thinking? You just did this last night. And I was like, all right, you're right. I have to start learning how to trust myself. I have to start learning to walk within my experiences and to believe my experiences, and to not trust that someone else's answers are going to be better than my answers. So this is why I cannot go to a psychic or anyone else right now or read for myself, because I'm having to learn to, not that I hear my voice, I talk to my spirit guides, I talk to my ancestors, I do all these things, and it's just kind of like, what is the purpose in doing them if you're not going to trust them? That's where I am. So that's why I am not going to psychics right now or reading for myself. But I did have a friend one time, she told me, said, why do you go to get a reading if you're going to read the cards yourself? And I'm just like, I don't know. Because I'm confused, and then sometimes I want to see if they're going to get the same thing that I just got. They do. 9 out of 10, I'm already reading the cards before they're done. And I'm like, yeah, they're trying to still figure it out. And I'm like, yeah, can we go? I'm already done. So, but this is before I started reading for myself. Once I started reading for myself, all of that changed. I never had a real notion to go out. I just found that I would go to a psychic when I was like stressed out. I didn't believe in myself. I was fearful. I was upset or whatever. And I'm like learning how to tap back into my power. So I'm going to share this experience, not to necessarily make fun of myself, but I want to experience this experience, because if you are going to a psychic out of fear of unknown, I want you to take this moment to trust yourself. Write down on a piece of paper and ask yourself, what is it that you want right now? What is it that you're trying to get? If you feel uncomfortable or you feel like things aren't working out and you want them to be better, you have a way to create that to get better. The better may not be what you think it may be. It may be better to your highest good. And I always like to say that, to your highest good, because you may think I want to be better at this job, but you know, your highest good is leaving that job because now it's time for you to walk in your purpose and do something else, but you're trying to stay at this job. So remember, you know, if you're going to see psychics, just do it for fun. Don't go with an intention like, oh my god, this is like life breaking, I need to know this right now, I'm stressed out, I need to know an answer. Trust yourself, because 9 times out of 10 your guides and ancestors are giving you signs in your daily life, and they're showing you daily what it is that you need to do, and you're just ignoring them, which is why you're going to the psychic, because you're seeing the signs, you're feeling the uncomfortableness, and you're just like, I don't like what I'm hearing, or I have to do, and I have to go to these people. So when you go to a psychic, you know, just remember, always ask for the credentials, always ask how they can do things, so that way you have an understanding and you know for certain if they're real. Always trust yourself and your gut. Use the information as a guide, not as facts, but just use it as a guide. So that is all for today, you guys. I kind of have to stop because my eyes are getting hurting from this light, and I think these lashes. But that is all for this video. I want to know about your psychic experience. If you've had and you've gone to a psychic, let me know. If you've been scammed by one, let me know. If you had a good positive experience, let me know. I'm gonna meet you down in the comments. I'm reading it all, I'm liking it all, I'm here for it all. So remember to kind of let me know what's going on. In love and light, I'm so grateful that you all have managed to join me, and if you stayed this long, thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening to me talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. This is like the highlight of my day. But I love you all, and I thank you so much for staying in love and light. I hope you have a beautiful and prosperous week and day and night, and I pray some money come in your pockets. I'm confirming that right now. It's coming in your pockets. That's all you got. Just get a little bit of money. It can be $5, $10, a little dollar here, extra bonus here, something. I hope you get something good, amazing this week, okay? I love you. In love and light. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Are you all caught up? If not, check out some of these videos. I'm sure they'll help you along your spiritual journey. With love and light.